After so many years, it gives me great pleasure to say that with God's help all things truly are possible. Voy a hacer este video en español y en inglés también para que todos me puedan entender. Gracias a todos por ver este video. Estoy anunciando mi libro que los... Gracias a Dios, después de tantos años, están listos ya para publicarlos. Entonces, ahora mismo está... Right now, these books are available for pre-order on Barnes & Noble. And I'm going to be listing them in other places as well. This is Fun City. Let me show you. It says, dare to enter into these doors. So, first page. First, a proper welcome. Welcome to Fun City. Before you begin reading, I really must warn you. Dare to enter into the doors of this book at your own risk, because if you do, you will never be able to leave. And one more. The cover page. Welcome to Fun City. You will enter into the park. You will play, whether you like it or not, and you will have fun. I actually read that out of order, but that's okay. And my table of contents, and I'm going to read to you a little bit. And in case you didn't know, these are 2 doors, and it says in the back, welcome to Fun City. If you dare, but I feel obligated to warn you, you might regret it. I'm going to read you the prologue, because that way you can get a bit of a better idea what the story is going to be about. Welcome to Fun City. It's a thriller and a suspense novel. Prologue, welcome to Fun City. They'd been driving for a really very long time, each of them exhausted, each of them tired, starving, but more than anything about to pee their pants and the brand new covers on Casey's new seats. It was his 3rd new ride in a long, long time. After taking the bus for 407 days and running to work when he missed the bus on foot, Casey was starting to get concerned that he was going to have to drive in a car that smelled like skunk, or even worse, like his best friend's. And yes, he kept track. He had been crossing off the days in his calendar, but finally he came up with the money. And Marion said, how much longer till the next stop? How much longer till the next rest stop? She asked because everything around them was a woodlands. About 24 miles, Casey said, stretching out his neck over to look at the GPS. Casey, if you don't pull over right now, I am not kidding you. Morgan threw open the door of the moving car. Whoa, whoa, Casey stopped the car. I will pee your car, Morgan finished his sentence, and jumped out of the car, but he couldn't find the right spot, so he was heading deeper and deeper into the forest to find more trees. Pass me a water, Marion was dry of thirst. There are no more. The kids swallowed our supplies like if they were candy, Casey frowned. Well, I'm going, Marion hollered, running up to the hilly woods herself. Marion, you can't just go running up into the woods, Casey hollered. You know, well, we all might as well empty out the tanks and get back on the road, he said, following her up, but picking a different spot that was much farther from them. Casey finished first, but as he was heading back down towards the car, Marion caught up to him. Hey, she smiled, coming up from behind. She leached onto his strong arm to pull herself up higher onto the mountain. We have to go back to the car, he said. Jack and Barbara are waiting alone. I didn't ask for Barbara to come with me, said Marion pretty carelessly, and then frustrated by Casey's deep, remorseful sense of responsibility, because she was starting to feel it too. But come on, she grew serious. Maybe we can refill our bottles with some water and bring some back for the kids as well. You would drink that? Asked Casey. Foreign water that you don't know where it's been or what's been in it. The animals that... Stop, said Marion. We haven't had water to drink since the morning, so frankly, I don't care if it's dirty water. I'm thirsty, she said, getting a bit cocky. And besides, What's a little walk after 3 rushing days and 2 of driving? We're coming out here to enjoy ourselves. That's what the trip was for. You said so yourself. You needed a break. We've all been working so hard. Casey then looked at her. I suppose you're right, he said, trying to ease up. He took her arm off of him still. It didn't make him comfortable. Well, if we should find water, his voice was more gentle now. But we don't want to go too far. We don't want to lose Morgan. Morgan takes 10 years in the restroom, Marion chuckled, a little annoyed by his comment, but not enough to be fed up by it. She was always the reckless one. They were deeper and deeper into the forest now than they ever were before. You're sure we're not going to get lost ourselves? Asked Casey, always finding something to be responsible about. Always with his walls up, never living a little. Everything had to be just right with him. But something made him stop. When Morgan caught up to them, he stood there dumbfounded, because they were standing before one very large white wall that stretched out for long like a very firm fence, like some kind of a defense, and it seemed to go on for long and high and forever. Morgan came closer to these seeming ever-extending walls, but what really left him stunned was the writing on this wall. It said in large black painted writing, "Dare to enter into these doors." It looked like the person who wrote it took the careful time to write these words. It wasn't like spray paint. Nor like graffiti. It was thick, bold, and almost like a font. But it was painted by hand. This place, or more so this wall, it looked a little worn out, but well kept, like it'd been standing there for a very long time. Suddenly they saw that before the doors there was a large rectangular device dangling from the door. It looked like an open sign, like the kind that hang outside of small markets and popular restaurants, only it looked out of use, powered off. They wouldn't have noticed it, but the sign lit up, only it didn't say open. The number 0349002 appeared before them. In very bright, like an off-white against a black background. Morgan saw that there was a combination lock beneath it. He came forward slowly and reached to enter in the numbers. "Don't touch that!" Marion tugged hard at Morgan's arm. Morgan looked at her a little startled and a little upset. Then slowly he approached the lock once again. Neither Marion or Casey tried to stop him, because deep down inside, it had piqued their curiosity so badly, that they needed to know what was beyond these walls. He slowly pushed in the 0 and then the 3, and soon enough, the wall slid open. They were doors. And they found themselves in the middle between those doors at an open view Liberty and another set of more obvious doors of black steel. And between the two walls, in the space much like nowhere, they found themselves there with a very old man wearing a very light gray tuxedo, with a very off-white, pointy, curled-up mustache on both ends of it, and hair just fading with time. Oh, I skipped something. I'm sorry. Let me see. All right, I was on the mustache, and hair almost completely white, only black streaks in it, still just fading with time. And this here man looked like he'd been in that place just waiting for them, for a very long time. He welcomed them with a great big smile. "Welcome to Fun City. Put your cell phones in here, please." He held open an empty fabric bag that looked like a rice bag from Indonesia. "No pictures, videos, or audio recordings beyond this point. That man continued with his eager smile. "Now you wait a minute, mister. Do you really think we're just going to hand you our cell phones?" Marion stepped forward, signaled him, and snapped hard. Casey pushed Marion behind him and got in the old man's face. "We're not giving you our phones. We don't even know what's behind those doors." Well, the old man's face glittered with somewhat of an enthusiasm. "See for yourself." He opened the sliding doors a crack, and Casey came close enough to see what was behind these doors. Because after they went in through the first doors, there's another set of doors. Okay. And Casey came close enough to see that what was behind these doors was a giant, empty amusement park. Not only with adult-sized playgrounds, but also with rides that went many rounds a mile. There was a carousel and a lot of woodland, but everything there was pleasing, and they had it all to themselves. "A place where you can be a kid again," the old man exclaimed happily. Casey turned around and nodded at Morgan and Marion, who so easily and thrillfully of good passion put in their cell phones into the bag of rice. Sorry, I'm not a very good reader. I'm a better writer than a reader. Okay. "Well, what about Barbara?" asked Marion, burdened, but putting on a face to smile. This seemed like quite the adventure. "I'll go get her," said Morgan, dolefully and dim, but a part of him was still cheery. He hurried to find the car, but he lost himself on his way to it and on his way back, and when he found himself back at the doors, the old man was waiting for him. He had shut the door after Marion and Casey, and it had been about an hour. Not even their laughter could be heard from the outside. "Barbara is a children?" The old man became so upset, and his pretty, perfect smile was gone out of his face, vanished like a hair on a shaggy, sheddy sheep pup. "No, this is Barbara, Marion's little cousin. This is Jack. He comes around and he sticks around. He's a really neat kid," said Morgan, smiling, a bit confused. "How do you all know each other?" the man asked, curious, a little too curious, and almost a little judgmental. His old face was full of a deep intrigue, like the question really, really circled him, and it asked him. "Well, Jack just kind of appeared in my life one day, almost about a year ago, and I loved him ever since. He's a little boy that comes to my pet store with his lovable golden retriever. He brings him absolutely everywhere. Casey and Marion and I, we all worked in the same deli shop making sandwiches 2 years back, and we've stuck to each other like wet cotton candy ever since. Casey is actually a clerk in Old Town Grocers not too many states away. I actually knew a guy that worked there, and Marion works in a salon. She's great with hair. Maybe she could do something nice with yours." Morgan was saying, "Are you saying that I don't have nice hair?" That man became angry. No, I didn't mean," Morgan sighed. "You have nice hair, sir." Morgan was deeply frustrated. "Can we go into Fun City now?" His patience was wearing out. No. The old man stomped his foot. "No children allowed." His face burned a bright old jello. Morgan frowned hard at him and glared into his eyes with fury. His voice thickened, deepened really. "Wow, can't you make an exception?" "No children allowed in Fun City," the man screamed. He was beginning to get agitated. "Okay, well, I'm sure that we can have that arranged." Morgan took out his wallet and began to pull out a couple of bills of money. No, put that away." The man didn't want his money. "Fine then, I'm going to get my friends and leave," Morgan screamed, rather agitated. "No, you're not," that man said, subtly smiling again. "No, you're not." Excuse me? Morgan tucked the wallet into his back pocket. He was beginning to have a very bad feeling about this. He was angered, but not coward. You're going into Fun City, whether you like it or not. That man's face became deeply serious and still. A loud scream was made as the man dragged Morgan into the theme park. It was so loud, it interrupted him from saying anything at all. The man shut the door behind him, locked. As for Jack and Barbara, I have made an exception. The old person laughed, bringing in a large cage over the wall with them inside, and a large machine with a hook and a rope lowered them inside. But it brought them to a very, very high ride. Cage and all, they were thrown into a ride that spun in circles. Meanwhile, each cage in the ride rotated twice as fast in the opposite direction. Suddenly there was a loud voice, like that of a woman's, a pre-recorded voice that echoed all through Fun City. When this happened, they were all scattered about in different places. Only Jack and his large golden retriever were together with Barbara. The voice said, "Welcome to Fun City. You will enter into the park. You will play, and you will have fun. I guarantee, it's guaranteed." The pre-recorded voice felt like it were being interrupted by something, like if it were an old system and falling apart, worn out by rain or time. This was when another loud sound was heard from all over the place, like the walls were being raised. No one knew where any one of them were, or if they were okay. Neither did they know how to find each other. That was what made it the scariest for them. Marion was concerned for his friends. Marion was concerned for her friends. Morgan was thinking about Jack and his friends, and Casey was thinking about Marion. Jack was thinking about his mother, and something was thinking eagerly about its dinner. It sounded like that of 1,000 iron bars, thousands of iron bars clashing against cement and sliding like if they were being raised and thrown against the cement violently. Marion went running through the playground and jumped onto the adult-sized monkey bars just before her legs were almost chomped off by a very starving alligator who hadn't eaten in 3 days. She held on for dear life, and then she leaped onto the other end of the elevated ground only to find another one. She jumped down to the ground, falling on her arm, dislocating it. Alligators jumped down after her. Ow! She wasn't sure that it was broken, but she couldn't stay down, and she couldn't give herself a relief. The running and the constant running. She didn't think that she could keep going, but she didn't feel that she had the strength. But she couldn't take the chance and stay down. She couldn't stop and rest. Run she did as fast as her legs could carry her, until she ran Morgan right into the ground, and she began screaming, "Morgan! Morgan! We have to get out of here!" relieved that she had found him, one of them. She had never run so fast in her life, and if it was a marathon, she would have won for fear of her dear life. She stood up quickly and pulled Morgan up from the ground. "Casey! Casey!" she screamed in desperation when she saw him, because when they turned the corner, he was there, a large boa wrapped around him tight. He didn't speak a single word, but after a minute or two he uttered out, almost shaking, barely speaking, "Help!" And they had no idea what they were going to do to save him, or if there was even left the hope thereof. Chapter 1. The First Sign of Hope in 10 Years. Now, that's all I'm going to read to you. I'm only going to read to you the prologue. Now, this is my book, Fun City. And I was writing... Let me correct myself. I wrote the second book. But the second book, I lost it. Got deleted in my... It didn't even get deleted. My flash drive malfunctioned. But I'm really grateful that after all of these years that I've been able to publish my book. Technically, my book will actually be published on August 2nd of this year, 2023. Right now it's available for pre-orders. So if you are interested in purchasing my book, look, I have literally right here next to me. Let me show you. Look, let me show you how many copies. I'm laughing. I have a bunch of copies. And that's Fun City. I don't even know how to pick these up all at once. I have these so that I can sell these in Puerto Rico. If anyone that speaks English wants to buy them, you can let me know. These are to sell them in Puerto Rico because Barnes & Noble doesn't ship to Puerto Rico, but anyone in the United States can order them from Barnes & Noble. I really hope that you enjoyed hearing about my book. I have it in matte. The ones that I printed out I have in matte, and I have in gloss. So, you let me know. I personally like the matte better. It's my favorite, but I have a weakness for gloss. Now, what was I going to say? Oh, the advertisement. The quick summary. So you can, even though I probably should have started with the summary. Let me just find the place where I wrote it down. I mean, I could say it with my eyes closed, but, but it's just easier to read it. Hold on. Here. Fun City, soon to be released for reading. Fun City is a book about three best friends in their early 20s, Marion, Morgan, and Casey, who decide to go on a 3-day trip together in Casey's car. But Marion's mother insists she bring her child cousin Barbara, and Morgan invites a 10-year-old boy named Jack to come along, naively, without permission from his mother. Only on their trip, which was supposed to be grandiose, they find themselves taking a small detour, when suddenly they find themselves before a very high wall with 2 large doors holding the careful writing, "Dare to enter into these doors." Astounded by this, they go inside and are welcomed to Fun City by a strange old man with white hair who seems to have been waiting for them for a real long time. What is behind